Well, hello everyone. Welcome to SportsNight. My name is Jonathan Clary, being joined by Damien Ritchie. Damien, summer's almost over, unfortunately.
Yeah, and leaves are starting to fall.
Yes, I know.
Which is strange, because usually, I swear for the past few years, you always want to, living up here, you want to be able to get the leaves off before the snow falls. That's like the common thing you want to do.
Yep.
And it kind of always seems to push it to like the first week of December is when the last few leaves fall.
Yep.
Now they're starting to fall in like middle August.
Well, strange. I saw yesterday that there's some sort of like black tar disease from maple trees. So if you see maple leaves that are on the ground and they have like, looks like black tar on them, it's some sort of disease for the trees right now. And I guess it's because of all the early rain we got in the spring. But it doesn't affect them long term. It's just for this season, I guess.
Okay, I didn't know if I had to take down, I'll go my maple tree.
Yeah.
How else am I going to get maple syrup?
Have you ever tried to tap a maple tree?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
In your backyard?
No. So when Melissa and I were first dating, her and her hipster friends would volunteer at this farm in Lexington that was like a hippie commune, basically. And one like late fall, she and another friend, and then like I went with her. Like they went there and they just volunteer. Like they work for free, volunteering.
Yeah,
like, that's what volunteering is. Doesn't pay. And it's all like basically it's for hipsters to go there and feel like I'm one with nature and I can groom it and food. And so they went around tapping maple trees, and I because I was the strongest one, the other lady kept asking me to like pick up all the buckets of like the tapped liquid.
Yeah. And
one was up really high. I didn't even know how they must have had a ladder. And she's like, "Oh, just do your best." So like I kind of fingered it, like tips, and I'm like, "Oh, hopefully I'll catch it." And the thing just dumped all over me. And I was just thinking like, "Oh, great, I'm just gonna be covered in like syrup."
Yeah.
No, it's like 99% water. You need 600 trees to make like 5 milliliters of maple syrup. I think that
because you need to boil it down a lot, right?
God, it's like they boil it for days.
Yeah.
But you basically for every bucket of like syrup tap from a maple tree, like you end up with like no joke, like maybe half a teaspoon of syrup.
Yeah.
If that, it might be less.
That's one of the things I like going to Vermont. They always show you like the process of doing that, but they tell you, it takes a lot to make a little. Yeah. But to actually see it, and then you can really get an idea for it. But I don't know if I knew it was like, I knew it was a good amount, but you actually need to see it.
And then depending on when in the season you're tapping it, depends on how like dark the syrup is.
Yeah. I prefer like the medium grade one.
I can't find a difference in taste.
Really?
And I consider myself I don't consider myself. People that like know me, like my wife, consider me a super taster. Because like I would eat something and I'm like, "Oh my God, there's cayenne pepper in there," and she would be shocked and she would be like, "I literally, like it wasn't even a pinch. Like the recipe called for a quarter of a teaspoon, and I like just wet my finger and did that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, that's all I taste." But cayenne pepper, I think, can be overpowering.
But you're not a big spicy.
I'm not a spicy person, but I can tell if like what else do I like? Fennel.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's fennel in here, or like you prepare this next to fennel. So I don't know. I could see.
I'm with that with cilantro. I'm not a big fan of cilantro.
I don't like cilantro at all. I think it's over. I think that's another thing that like if I make guacamole or salsa, I don't put cilantro in it.
Those are the exact two things I can think of.
Yeah.
If it's in it, I go, "Oh, I can taste the cilantro." And I know my wife is the same thing. She's like, "It's not that bad. I like it. It's not that strong of a taste." I'm like, no, it's all I can taste is the cilantro.
I think herbs and spices were cultivated for people that have no taste buds.
Possibly. See, but cilantro is like the only thing that really bothers me. You could load up basil and thyme and oregano, and those don't bother me. I enjoy having those.
A ton of oregano.
A lot, yeah.
But I put like a lot of basil when something. I like basil.
Yeah, I do too.
Basil.
We have 2 huge basil plants that we purchased from BJ's, actually. We were just walking around, and we came out and we were like, "Oh, wow, look at these basil plants. They look really good." And, of course, it was like these tree-sized basil plants, they were like, $6 or something like that.
Yeah.
So for a 2-pack, so we got them, and they've survived really well for the past month and a half, or whatever it is.
They'll grow back next year too.
Oh, see, we always kill them somehow. So, but maybe we just need to water them more.
The secret is not caring about them, and then they'll grow back the next year. That's what I realized when, like, in landscaping the house, the stuff that you try to care about, like, okay, for example, like these hydrangea bushes. We buy like 17 hydrangea bushes a year.
Yeah.
And all but one survived, like the original one that was always there.
Yeah.
And we never take care of that one, and it's fine. I think you have to just ignore them and let them. Because
I know, like with hydrangeas and other things, once they get like really settled, then you don't have to worry about it. It's almost like a tree. Once a tree's going, you don't have to worry about watering it or whatnot. And I know hydrangeas are like that. But real quick, the maple syrup, I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you can't taste the differences, because maybe that's just one thing we love to do, is we always love to taste the samples. Like there's like fancy A and something else A, and then there's like 4 kinds, I think. And the B one is like the real dark one. That's not like the fake maple syrup, but it's kind of almost similar to that.
I eat syrup how most people use soy sauce for sushi, or how I guess you're supposed to use. So they give you that little bowl of
you dip
and you kind of just you're supposed to gently brush it.
Yeah.
Okay, I do that. Like, I cut my waffle, and like I always pour my syrup like on the corner of the plate. It's like overwhelmingly sweet to me.
See, if you get like A, it's not super sweet.
And is A the best one?
Not necessarily the best one. It's just, I think it's, again, when it's been tapped.
Yeah.
It's the lightest color as well.
Well, shouldn't you get the most bang for your buck? Like, shouldn't A be like the sweetest? You're going for sweet.
Well, no, I think B is the sweetest, actually, because of how long it's been cooked. So I think if you cook it more or boil it more, you get more of the sugars.
So then why is A more expensive than B?
I don't know.
See, that's like. Oh,
sometimes it's not, depending where you go. But I know sometimes it is. Yeah.
This is 87 octane. This is $3.50 a gallon. Oh, this is 150 octane. You hit the gas once, it'll take you to Weymouth. That's 50 cents.
Right.
That's what it seems like.
You'd have to talk to the
maple syrup monopoly. There must be some kind of.
And do you? I don't know if you're again not a big connoisseur of maple syrup, but can you taste the differences between like Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine? Because there is like, depending on these, there you can taste like a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, Vermont has like kind of a
hippie feel to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a pretentious. And
New Hampshire's more of a gunpowder feel.
It tastes like freedom.
Or I was gonna say it tastes like angry. And Maine's is kind of like the laid back, whatever.
Has a little southern twang of New England syrup.
I prefer, and maybe it's just my bias, but I prefer Maine and Vermont. But I just like going to those states more than New Hampshire as well.
Yeah, I prefer Maine anything. I like Maine. Maine's a good state.
I agree.
Wholesome state.
One of the things I like most about Maine, and mostly Maine, and Vermont has as well, but when you're driving around on the roads, and they have all those street signs, and it says like, this farm a mile up the head, or this store is a mile up the head. I know that we don't need that as much here, but I feel like if it was like more middle of Massachusetts, western Massachusetts, they should have more of those signs. Around in Quincy, you don't need that.
Yeah.
But like when you go to Maine, those are all around. I just love seeing those signs. But that's just one of those things, the nostalgia part.
Nobody goes to middle Massachusetts, so it doesn't matter.
Well, maybe the Berkshires then. People go to the Berkshires.
I've never been to the Berkshires.
I think I've driven like past it quickly. But yeah, I've never like camped there or visited there.
Never been to the Berkshires. I've never seen UMass Amherst. I don't
think I've been there either.
I've never been to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I've been to the Basketball Hall of Fame a couple of times.
You
should definitely go to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
I've never been to Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard.
I've been to the Vineyard. I haven't been to Nantucket.
There's a few things I haven't done in the state. And this is a very fancy microphone I'm getting used to. I don't know if the camera can see it.
We went to Teresa and we went to the Vineyard a long time ago. We went for just a few days because neither of us have ever been there. We're like, let's just spend a couple of days there. So we're in Vineyard Haven. And Vineyard Haven is the only town that's wet, so you can get alcohol there. All the other ones are dry, if I think that's correct.
Yeah.
But we got bikes.
High opioid use in the Vineyard.
I can imagine, yeah.
Because all it takes is like one person to throw the entire statistics off.
But we were staying in Vineyard Haven for a couple of days.
Yeah.
We we biked over to, I forget one of the other towns in the Vineyard, but we biked over to the Edgartown. We biked over to there, and that's kind of a populated area. And then we took the bus around the island.
How many people live on the island proper?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Do you know the answer? Or are you just guessing?
I'm just curious.
I would say...
Now I have to look it up.
I would say 10,000 people. And maybe I'm way off. I'm just going to guess 10,000 people, give or take.
Yeah, let's see.
It's probably more than actually if I'm thinking about that.
I'm sure it also varies on the time. So in 2010, the census had it at 15,000.
Oh, so the actual I mean, those are people that consider that they're home.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you went there now, there'd be a lot more people there, but those aren't residents.
Well, it could be somebody who lives in California and claims residency in Martha's Vineyard because of lower tax. They have Massachusetts plates and their car out in Cali.
Possibly, I don't know, but yeah, I enjoyed going to it was one of those places I could go to for only a couple of days because obviously it's so small. But we went to the beach for a little bit. We went around to the different towns and the shops. We saw the different lighthouses and things like that. But I've never been to Nantucket, and the Berkshires I've never been to as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's other places that how have you not been to these places in Massachusetts? But
so Nantucket has now entered my school's division.
Conference?
Yeah, not conference.
Oh, just the division? Okay.
Division for football and basically all the other sports. And I already told my athletic director I don't take boats. I don't like going on boats. I get seasick. I get panic attacks on boats.
Yep.
I'd rather be on an airplane going through a thunderstorm.
See, I can do big boats like a ferry, but I couldn't do like a Boston whaler.
Yeah, I would prefer the bigger the boat, the more comfortable I feel.
Yeah.
Though just the whole I don't like being on a boat.
Just you don't want to be stranded in the middle of the ocean, or it's just like the waviness in the motion sickness.
I think it's like a self-preservation thing of knowing that I can't swim.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that could be something to do that as well.
And you know what? It's like a faux pas to walk around a ferry or a cruise ship with a life jacket on. Apparently, so.
Interesting. I guess because people are going, what's wrong with that guy?
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, you never know. We're floating in the middle of an ocean.
See, I don't think I would want to go deep sea fishing just because I wouldn't want to be stuck on a boat for 3 hours or whatever it is, just sitting there in the water.
Oh, you drink. That's basically
partly I would just get bored. But the other thing is I wouldn't want to just be sitting there in the middle of nowhere for a long time.
I don't think they stop. I think they
do they?
They're moving because you cast your bait out and it they troll it along.
But for the most part, you're in a small area, so you might not be stopped, but you're just in a small area.
Yeah.
You might be trolling around a little bit, but if I was in the middle of a lake that I could see the sides and stuff like that, that wouldn't be that bad. But again, it's just sitting there forever.
Most people get seasick too on deep sea fishing unless you're totally used to it. They recommend for your first time to take Dramamine and eat
not a ton of food.
Yeah. Get ready to throw up.
Don't eat a lot of sushi and other random stuff that might not be that great to eat with.
So, yeah. Yeah, we're not meant to go out in the ocean.
Not just sitting there.
Have your daughters seen Moana yet?
They have, yes. Yeah. They liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was too bad.
No, I liked it too.
Yeah.
I thought The Rock did a good job.
He did. He had a couple of songs he sang.
Yeah.
I don't think they were singing, but more than just talking, so...
Like Taylor Swift singing, just talking with a singy song voice because she can't really sing.
But yeah, they like Moana. We've watched it a few times since then.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, right now we're going between Moana and Sing, and there's something else that I'm forgetting.
My oldest hasn't seen Sing. My youngest could care less about it.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was all right.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fine too.
Yeah.
So I know there's something else. Secret Life of Pets. There's another one they've watched a couple of times.
Yeah, they've seen that. Louis C.K. does a voice for that, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that. I didn't really sit and watch the whole thing because they were preoccupied. So I'm like, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
I hate doing that sometimes. They're watching a TV show and they're just completely entranced, which is another topic for another time. Maybe just how you put the TV on, all of a sudden they just stop and they're like you can't do anything to distract them because
Yeah.
you can wave your hands in front of them and they're just like seeing through you. But anyway, so I feel like sometimes I should be sitting there watching it with them, but then all of a sudden I'm falling asleep or the phone rings or I'm like, oh, I need to go get some yard work done or I need to just clean something or whatever it is.
Check your emails or something. I don't know. Some shows I can stomach that they watch. A lot of them, like there's this one show that now that Colette knows how to turn on the TV, go to Netflix, and like find a show.
Yep.
So she found this show on her own, and it's called Mia and Me. Okay.
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's awful.
Is it a cartoon?
It's both, which makes it even worse. So it's this girl. Here's the premise. I'm sorry. I have to shut.
Oh yeah. Shut up. For those of you who don't know, in the studio here, I forgot to turn it off before we started.
The studio used to be a meat locker.
It normally is, but I turned the space heater on so it wouldn't be as freezing as here.
Yeah.
And I forgot to turn it off when we get started. And I can tell you, got me sweating.
That's
so
right.
Anyway,
so Me and Me it's a joint television program by Italy, Canada, and like I want to say Spain and Germany.
Okay.
So from my loose understanding, because I can't watch this thing for my life, it's this girl who you don't watch Game of Thrones, right?
I do not know.
So it's one of these. It's a girl who also happened to be on Game of Thrones. Okay, as this bit character that was, her and her two sisters were considered the least popular characters in the show's history.
Okay.
And like they were annoying. They were just done. They were portrayed awful. And she exposed herself on the show, which is also then strange seeing her in this kid show. So anyway, so this girl is in this so it's filmed in Tuscany, and this girl is in this horse school, high school, she's in high school.
Is this Mia here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's in high school that involves has a heavy emphasis on riding horses.
Okay.
And her grandfather works there, and he's he has a heavy Spanish accent, but the old school Iberian Peninsula, with the lisp and the king's tongue, Spanish. And then there's a couple totally English speaking kids, which I assume are probably the Canadians. Now she is Italian, the main character, but she doesn't really have the. She doesn't sound like my family. Hey, what's the matter for you? Accent, Italian. And her parents died because now it's a tragic show. And she has this little watch. And she says, I am Mia, into the watch. And she goes, her parents were video game designers. And she goes into this video game world where she's a fairy princess and they rescue unicorns.
Interesting.
Yeah. I can't. The show is just, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's like a car wreck. It's just awful.
Yeah, so I just Googled it while you're talking about it. It says, Canadian, German, Italian animated series. And Mia's an awkward 12-year-old who recently arrived at a new boarding school, and she's given a book and a bracelet that are more than they appear to be on the surface. Yeah,
it's awful.
That doesn't sound interesting to me. But, see, your first mistake was, did you teach Colette how to get onto Netflix, or did she just figure it out?
She figured it out.
Oh, okay. So it
doesn't help that the remote. She knows Netflix. She doesn't she knows how to spell it now. She knows
okay.
And so the remote has a Netflix button.
Okay. So that's
she learned what the power buttons look like because they all have the same symbol. So she learned how to turn on the TV, and then she pressed Netflix.
Yep.
And it came on.
And then she just hits the enter.
And then there's arrows. So she was able to figure it out, which I guess is a good thing. But
yeah.
She's now at the stage in her life where she wakes up and she'll go downstairs and turn on cartoons. Okay. Which I honestly, I really don't care because I'd rather that than her waking us up. And by us, she really just wakes up Melissa.
Oh, yeah.
They both do. They walk in the room, they go straight to her.
To call him to bed or wake her up?
To wake her up. They're I'm up. They don't bother me at all.
It depends on the day. A lot of times they like to try to crawl into bed with us. Actually, Lily is still in the crib with the sides up, and she doesn't want to learn how to crawl out. Yeah. So I'm that's fine by me for right now. Louisa will come in, and depending on the day, we'll crawl in to one side or the other. But the past few days, they've been sleeping in like really well. So I'm like, that's fine by me.
See, Colette will also wake up and then wake up Talia and then leave.
Oh, God.
Which then makes her come to our room in a really cranky mood.
Oh, God. Yeah, see, the girls, they don't go into each other's rooms right now. So, because I think I think Louisa might have done it a couple times. But then if she wakes up Lily, it is, like you said, like Lily's just, wicked cranky if she's woken up the wrong way. And it's terrible for everyone for the next hour or whatever it might be. So
for us, it's mostly the day. Get her to nap.
That's funny. So yeah, it's weird that like Louisa was trying to climb out like as soon as she could, and Lily has no desire to try to climb out. Like we said, try to climb out, like try to do anything. She's like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah,
and she's just like she's like, no, I just don't want to.
She's playing you.
Yeah. She's gonna climb out and like jump on top of us, and she'd be the one that would like literally climb into bed and jump on me.
Yeah,
and body slam me or whatever.
I hate when they climb in bed. Honestly, when they climb in bed, I get out and go to theirs.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's like I can't sleep with them. You're like kicking me and stuff.
Yeah, that stinks sometimes.
Yeah, kids are awful.
We were on vacation for a little bit last week, and we were worried about, trying to put them to bed and everyone at the same time in the hotel room and stuff like that. So most of the time, it just ended up we all went to bed at the same time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad. And then waking up, we all kind of woke up at the same time. So it wasn't terrible. It was one night we were kind of like we wanted them to go to bed so we could just do something else for a little bit or go out on the balcony, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
We were just that
doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, we were hoping at least one night. So and then one night we were out visiting friends, and they fell asleep on the car ride back. So
yeah,
we just ended up going to sleep at the same time too. But
mostly, yeah, when we're somewhere else, our game plan is just like they're gonna when they pass out is when they fall asleep. So there's no like, we'll do the bedtime routine, but there's no like, all right, go to bed. I feel like it's a useless battle.
Yeah, going to bed can be a battle sometimes. And then, like right now, they've been sleeping in longer than they really should. So now we got to try to start getting them into the school routine because it's like, all right, we're going to have to get up early. They can't sleep into 7:30, 8 o'clock for another couple weeks or whatever.
You know, a lot of high schools, like there's been a heavy debate about starting high school later in the day.
Yes, I've heard about that.
Because, like technically teenagers perform better like late morning than they do like in the. It is true if you think about it. Like they go to school the same time kindergartners do. Mm-hmm. Like an 18-year-old and a 5-year-old.
So I know
they have the same portion for lunch.
So
which is also
kind of weird. Yeah, I know. Kindergarten starts at for me. It's gonna be at 9:10 or 9. No, maybe it's 9:30.
That's a late one.
So it's either 9. I don't think it's 9. Maybe it is 9:30. It's either 9:15, 9:30. But then high school starts a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it should be the other way around.
See, I don't know. I still think because then you have other stuff going on after school that the kindergartens aren't gonna have as much stuff going after school as the high school kids would. So then you have high school kids starting baseball, basketball, football practice at 4 instead of 3.
They go to bed at 12 anyway.
Well, I guess that's
who cares?
I guess that would be one of the main issues.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's going to be schools that do that. Now Boston wants to do an extended school, like lengthen their school day, and they're going to have to figure that out.
Right. Well, I can see some schools having that,
I heard people too mentioning like turning sports into extracurriculars.
Okay, so as part of the school day?
Yeah, which doesn't make sense because in MIAA rules, right? Like your first report card, like is always before the fall sports season ends. Right. And so let's say you bomb, and now you're like off the football team, so then you can't really play football anymore. So then you would have to find a different class? Like, I don't know. It's complicated.
Unless you stay on the football team, but not as an actual player, as a manager or scout or something like that.
The purpose, I know, but the purpose of you failed off is like you need to spend more time in your academics.
Well, yeah, no, that's true, but I mean, but if everyone has a mandatory extracurricular activity after the 3 o'clock hour, and whether it's and whether it's art or music or sports or I don't know, whatever, some robotics, something like that. But I don't know. I think it might be interesting to see how they could do that, but I think it might be tough to have an extended school day for everyone. But who knows? I don't know. So
c'est la vie.
Yes. So hopefully we're going to be getting a call in a little bit here, so we will have some other topics to discuss. We haven't talked on sports at all yet, which is fine. Everything's okay with that. So actually, when
speaking of children, Kyrie Irving wants out of Cleveland.
Honestly, why not? If he wants to get out of there, because he knows LeBron's going to be jumping ship most likely. I don't see LeBron staying.
He's a flat earther.
Who is?
Kyrie Irving. He's like a prominent. Like he
thinks
that the earth is flat, even though this man has flown like from Cleveland to California for games. Believes that the earth is flat. Just boggles my mind. Apparently he never bothered to look out the window.
Well, no, but you could still see that. Technically, you could see that it's flat. I mean, because if you're flying, it looks like you're just going in a straight line.
True, but basic mathematics is higher up you go. Okay, let's say you draw a line from point A to point B. Okay.
Yeah.
Triangulation. Okay, let's say here's the flat Earth, and here's.
You've already lost half of the NBA.
Okay. Triangle offense.
You've already lost half the NBA. Especially now, they don't. The triangle offense. To talk to the Knicks.
Yeah.
Didn't work that well. I was unaware that he was a flat Earth guy. But I guess technically, if you don't go into space, you don't know for sure.
No, you can. I mean, there's like about 6 laws of physics that you can prove that it's round, but like I said, the higher up you go means the further you can see. And the fact that you can go up really high in a plane, but you can't see like Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Means that it's curved out of your sight, and thus it's not flat.
Yeah, but then you could say, even though things are flat, if you're so far away, you still won't be able to see it.
Yeah, but you could say that, but like I said, simple mathematics, if you make a triangle, you should be like, here's a field of vision.
I'm just trying to give you the other side of the argument.
Here's a field of vision. Maybe a flat earther should call in. Most of them at this point now are just people that join them to troll them. But yeah, no, it's the earth isn't flat.
I'm indifferent. Whether it's flat or not, it doesn't really matter.
The flattest place on earth is what, like the Utah, where they test all those fast like rocket cars.
I'll say it's out in the desert out there somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a solid flat area or something.
What do you think about, speaking of long flat areas, of Elon Musk digging his tunnels for the Hyperloop? Hyperloop? Is that what that's called?
Oh, is he really like going through with that?
Yeah, I think they're trying to dig some tunnels out there to test it. Maybe not tunnels out there, but I think they've connected the tubes to try to test it out there.
So like the high-speed train thing?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So you're going into the vacuum, and then that's why it would go so fast.
Hey, it's the future, man. And I have no problem with that. The thing is, I won't be the first passenger.
Yeah.
Because you're going what? How fast are you going like an Amtrak, like on the Acela? Like, first of all, I hate how the Acela is the Acela, like it accelerates. That thing maybe goes 60.
I thought it was faster than. Oh, maybe it's not.
I don't think it punches like 200 miles an hour, like down to like DC. But either way, those things going like 60, 80 miles an hour. There's an accident. There's like 90%, casualties is going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going like 800 miles an hour, man. That's like guaranteed. Like you're not having there's nothing to bury when they.
So yes, they're saying that. Just googling it real quick. A 350-mile route from L.A. to San Francisco, following Interstate 5 corridor. It could go at approximately 600 miles per hour, an average of 600 miles per hour, with a top speed of 760 miles per hour. But that's out there where it's kind of just a straight route too.
Yeah, so not as fast as the speed of sound, but
And then
does that put like don't they train like astronauts to like
I
spin around that thing to like feel how much
they may I don't know.
Can like your grandma hop on board on that and be like fine? Like,
well, let's see if our guest has any comments. And like Kenny Tasney, you on the line?
I'm on the line, fellas. What's up?
Not too much what's going on.
What do you think about this Elon Musk's bullet train?
Oh, I don't know.
Have you heard about this Hyperloop thing? He wants to put like essentially a train in a tunnel, and with the vacuum, you could go from L.A. to San Francisco in like 30 minutes or something like that.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. No, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then he hopes to try to do something in the Northeast Corridor as well. So it would go from like New York to Philly to somewhere else in D.C. essentially, and then Boston and Providence would get in there at somewhere along the line as well. But
I mean, I'm like a sci-fi guy, you know, so I don't doubt that they could come up with faster ways for us to travel. But I mean, that sounds pretty far off.
Yeah, so it's all in theory, obviously. But the other thing too is for him, he wants to do it underground. But right now, to dig a tunnel from like New York to D.C. would take like 5,000 years or some stupid amount of time because the technology that we have. But so now he wants to come up with like
a tunnel digging
digger machine to make things quicker. Because I think it's like, you know, you can go like 1/8 of a mile in a day or something like that at the top speed. But anyway, so yeah, that's what we've been talking about so far: are hyperloops and children and something else random. So speaking of, how is your son's broken arm?
Oh, he's good.
You broke your son's arm?
He's on the mend, and
yeah, Kenny was angry that he had to go on vacation.
So now everything's kind of easy.
Yeah, so the truth is you broke his arm for some reason, correct?
Okay. No. Can't put that out there on TV.
Yeah. It's radio as well, don't worry. So, but anyway, so we're glad to hear he's doing okay. It looked like it was a nice break there, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like when I got to him, you know, his arm was a little bit crooked, so it was a bad break.
I guess so.
Was he? I've heard so many stories of kids breaking bones, and like 3 hours later, they finally like admit to their parents that it hurts.
I mean, it was pretty instant, like as far as like the pain and everything.
Yeah.
The way it was explained to us is like some kids, you break it, and it's like a little break, you know, like it's just like a little bend in the bone. And when that happens, it's pretty easy to just kind of put a cast on, set it, and you know, kids' bones are flexible, so they'll just kind of set back the way it should be. But he was like beyond that threshold. Like he broke it. They had to knock him out so that they could set the bone and all that. So, you know, there's different levels of breaks and everything.
Sounds like a fun and adventurous time.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun way to start my vacation.
And ended pretty quickly as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, after a couple of days, we were able to do some stuff back home in Massachusetts. But yeah, it was a little bummer to miss out on the trip to New Hampshire and everything. The kids were bummed out, but you know, we took them to Edaville to make up for missing Storyland, and it was actually I thought Edaville was better than Storyland, so I thought it was actually an upgrade.
I consider Storyland the generic Disneyland.
I've never been there, so I don't know.
You've never been? Good for you.
No.
We went like last summer. Now, Melissa's all for going back. She's like, the girls love it. Why don't you like? I'm like, 'cause it's awful. It sucks. It's a generic Disneyland. All it takes is one corporate person from Disney just checking it out, and they're going, oh, here comes I'm shut down immediately. This is like all copyright infringement. Like,
don't you think they've already done that though? I mean, I'm pretty sure Disneyland's world is on the outlook for ripoffs.
Well, apparently, then somebody's looking out for Storyland because it's a complete.
I mean, my beef with Storyland is that since I went when I was a kid, and from what I understand, it hasn't really been upgraded. They haven't done much to the park, but the prices have gone up. So it's kind of like I don't know.
It's natural with inflation.
We were going because we were going to be in New Hampshire, and the kids would love it, but it's not like I was going to be too impressed with the place.
They've added some like rides that weren't there when we were kids.
Yeah.
And they added like a splash park and like a water. No, they've added a lot actually.
Have they? Okay.
But
good to know.
But the core like real crappy Storyland, you know, actual exhibits, because that's the thing. It's Storyland, so this is Little Miss Muffet's house and all, like those crappy ones made of like plaster from like the 60s. Yeah, those are still there.
Interesting. Now, Kenny, I saw that you went to the Roger Williams Zoo. Is that correct?
We did. That's another thing we did last week. Yeah.
Phenomenal good zoo.
I'll say I was there with my family like 2 or 3 days before you went, and we had a really good time. We liked it a lot. So, and it looks like they're doing some construction there as well. So that looks like gonna be kind of an interesting thing when that's completed too. So did you guys enjoy it there?
Oh, for the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I'd never been to that zoo, so it was actually I was impressed. I liked it. The only zoo that we've been to, other than like outside of Massachusetts, is the Franklin Park Zoo, which is nothing to get too excited about. So we were happy to find a good zoo and check it out.
John, have you been to the Southwick Zoo?
I have not. I've heard about it, but I haven't been there. So
I heard very good things about the Southwick Zoo. People say it's the best zoo in New England.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, I think, in my opinion, I like the Roger Williams Zoo. I like it's set up nice,
Yeah.
But I like the zoo in Maine.
The York's Wild Kingdom?
Yeah, because it has large predators, and most zoos don't have that.
Yeah.
Because it's awful to keep large predators inside small enclosures, but I don't care. I like seeing tigers and lions and like polar bear. Like that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of going to Disney was that you did the Animal Kingdom and they had the big safari and it was really open for the animals to be able to move around. It was definitely different than any other zoo I'd been to.
Yeah, and Roger Williams doesn't have like they have like a snow leopard, which is like their largest predator.
Which we couldn't really see when we were there because it was like
sleeping,
hiding. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, it's like nocturnal.
I know the girls like seeing the elephants and giraffes, and they just like giraffes.
Yeah.
To begin with, so we saw the giraffes, so that was kind of cool.
Did you do the face paint?
No, we did not do that. That was one thing we didn't want to do. My wife and I did not want to do, so we did not do that on purpose.
Yeah, we got suckered into that. I was kind of spoiling them last week because of the whole broken arm thing.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. we just didn't want to have to deal with face paint for one time. The other thing that the girls really liked was the flamingos, and a couple of them
animals, but yeah.
one of them, actually two of them, they were just how they were sleeping on one foot and a completely tucked in a ball and stuff like that. So both of the girls really got a kick out of the flamingos. So
the coolest animal I saw was they had a red panda.
Oh yeah.
And it was like up on the very top shelf of like the enclosure.
Yep.
So you walk up this hill, and as you get to the top, it was just kind of like hanging out right there. You got a real good look at it.
Yep. Yeah. No, I know. I think the girls, Louisa liked the red panda because she kept on saying red panda for whatever reason.
She wasn't just singing Panda. That song that was a hit last summer. No.
I'm unaware of that one. No. If anything, it would have been the book Panda Bear. What do you see? I see whatever it is. You know that book? No. Oh, okay. Never mind then. So, well, anyway, Patriots season, Kenny, is just about underway. I don't count preseason; it's just all practice. So, your thoughts on the Patriots practice, preseason, and things of that nature so far early on here?
Man,
19-0.
Everyone's kind of bored by the Patriots this offseason just because they're so good.
Yeah.
There's not too many storylines to get excited about because everywhere you look is just kind of all set.
So, what do you think about the dynamic between Gilmore and Butler? Because I don't know if there's a little friendly rivalry going back and forth there. They each think they're a top cornerback, and one's being paid, the other wants to get paid. Do you think that's going to be a dynamic that's good, bad, or indifferent?
I think we probably have one of the best cornerback duos in the league as long as they show up and it shakes out the way it should on paper.
Yep.
I've heard that in camp the defense has looked amazing, especially the D-backs. You don't get a good look at that in the preseason games because they don't play anybody. But
right.
I love the guys that we have. I'm excited about Gilmore. I love Butler. I hope he does get paid. I hope he stays here for a few more years. He's the prime of his career. But, I'm a huge fan of Devin McCourty at safety, and I'm excited to see him back there with Gilmore in front of him. And I'm a little bit worried about, the nickel corner. I usually give rookies and young players at least 3 years before I really start to judge them. But Cyrus Jones, I'm ready to bail on him. I've been defending him the last year or so, and he looked like garbage in that preseason game.
And that seemed to be one of the unanimous things that people were talking about was how bad Jones has looked, and obviously it's compounded with how poorly he played last year. Or it's not say he played poorly; it was the big plays that he played so poorly on.
Yeah, like I think last year it was really premature for people to be bashing him and saying he was a bust because he's a rookie player and. You got to let a second-round pick kind of play out, but to see no progress from then to now, and knowing that he came from Alabama, so he should be like a top-tier prospect. You know what I mean? Like kind of ready to go, I would think.
Right.
And he looks like garbage out there. He's a total liability.
And I think the big thing too is, like I was mentioning, is all those bad plays or mistakes just happen in big key situations where they were highlighted more. If it was the first game and it was 35-0, people are like, oh well, whatever. But they were in key situations in close games, and luckily it didn't come back to bite them too terribly.
But they had him playing safety against the Jaguars, which the Jaguars, I mean, you say that name in NFL, they are like the quintessential great offense. but I mean, he was playing out of position. Like, would you be mad at Dante Hightower if he didn't do a good job at the end?
Well, but
I mean, I don't know though. He gave up like a 97-yard touchdown, and he was never in it. There was no part in that progression of the play.
I know, but
he was doing what he should be doing. He just got totally blown off the ball. He out of position. He couldn't look for the ball because he didn't know where the ball was. And just who gives up a 97-yard play like that?
Well,
it's
see that
garbage.
I mean, my only defense. I agree. I don't think the Patriots can draft a secondary to save their life. And
no, they can't.
You know me. But in his defense, it is people think like it's linemen, second like linebackers and secondary, and like all three of those groups are amongst themselves are interchangeable. It's not. There's a really big difference between a safety and a cornerback. That's like saying a running back can back up Tom Brady because he's kind of near him in the backfield too before the snap of the ball.
Yeah,
it's safety's very different. It's especially I think in this day and age it's the hardest position to play.
Well, yeah, I mean you're the quarterback back in the backfield.
But did they put him back there because maybe they think he can succeed better back there than he can at corner or nickel corner or anything like that?
It could be like another McCourty type situation where they look at his play and say, well, it's not working out at corner. Let's see what we can do. Because I mean, Devin McCourty, his rookie year, if it wasn't for what's his name there, Sue. McCourty probably would have been rookie defensive player of the year that year. I think he had didn't he have 10 picks or something like that his rookie year?
Yeah, the reason, McCourty though came in with McCourty has a really high. The reason why the Patriots drafted him was because he could say what the 10 other guys in defense are supposed to be doing at any given play, and that's why Belichick loved him. He physically couldn't play corner in the NFL. He's not that fast.
No, but his first year he was unbelievable.
He was good,
and then his second year he just fell off a cliff.
And then they moved him to safety, and I think he's one of the top safeties in the NFL. I love him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's going to be a good. The other thing I think I like about Gilmore too is that little dust up he had with Edelman the first or second day of practice.
I apologize. Jones only played cornerback. I only played safety for the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah,
he still let up a lot of plays. So the Patriots said that he has been struggling last year, and they wanted to see if there was different ways that they could use him. So apparently he will not be a Patriot.
I mean, I feel like I think it's hard to be a young player in New England just because we as a fan base have such high expectations for these guys. That like a guy like Cy Jones, like we're sitting here now, and I think we can say now that he doesn't look like he's going to turn out to be a very good player. But
see, I mean,
there were people ready to cut him after like his first preseason game, week 1.
Yeah,
and it's like
well, the thing is, Kenny, it's like I don't have any high expectations for any cornerback that is serviceable that we draft. It makes me raise my eyebrows and be like, that's a surprise. I don't have any. The Patriots could have the number 1 pick overall, and take a cornerback that's supposed to go number 1 overall, and he could come to the Patriots and suck and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
Just
but I don't know
they
if
can't
it's just
evaluate
exclusive to like Cy Jones is the example now. But I mean, I think it's tough for most of the young guys. We bring people in, and even if they play well, look at Devin McCourty. He came in, he played pretty well, and there were still people year 2, year 3 saying, oh, he was a garbage pick, and we don't know how to draft. We definitely have missed. Obviously, there's a million examples of us missing.
No, see,
on draft
I argue Dante Hightower came in, and right away everybody loved him. They were calling him the next Willie McGinnis. Who's Chandler Jones? Everyone was like, "Oh, we finally got a pass rusher." Even Malcolm Brown, the nose tackle, everybody is like happy about him. It's just the fact that we draft crappy secondary.
Oh, the secondary, yeah, it goes so far back. I mean, Rozay Dowling and what is his name, Darius Butler. Those guys were second-round picks, and we've whiffed on a bunch of them. So yeah, no disagreement there at all.
Now, do you consider Malcolm Butler? I
think we have a lot of expectations for young players to be really good, really fast, and there are certain positions that just doesn't shake out. Wide receiver is one of those positions. It could take you 3 or 4 years before you're a pretty good professional wide receiver. Or, I mean, obviously there are like the exceptions, the guys that are really good right away. But there are guys that started out their careers as quote unquote like busts, and then they went on to be like Pro Bowl receivers.
Now, would you consider Malcolm Butler though, just like they lucked into him because he was an undrafted free agent, but they saw that there was something worthwhile to bring him in, and during his rookie year, he had built up enough confidence that they were able to bring him in the key situation throughout the year, and then obviously in the Super Bowl as well. So I mean, you have to give him some credit for the evaluation as well.
I think they get. I give them credit for like all their good drafts. I mean, there are people who say you can't give them credit for drafting Tom Brady because if they knew he was good, they would have drafted him in the third round, fourth round.
Yeah, no. I think the Patriots saw Tom Brady and they saw his competitiveness, and like I said, they saw his field intelligence, and they're like, yeah, he's good. And they probably knew no one was going to grab him. But I don't think they looked at Tom Brady and said, yeah, he's a franchise quarterback for the next 25 years.
Oh, absolutely not. But who could have guessed that? But, I mean, you still got to give them credit for drafting the right guy or signing the right guy. So, yeah, I think they lucked into Malcolm Butler. There's no way that you sign a guy as an undrafted free agent who was working at Popeye's Chicken a week before you signed him.
Right.
And think, oh, this guy's going to get the game-winning interception in the Super Bowl. But, lucked into him or not, they recognized his talent, they brought him in, they gave him a shot. I mean, I think that's one of my favorite things about this coaching staff is that they bring guys in who you wouldn't think are going to get a legitimate shot, like the Rob Ninkoviches of the world. And they get it. They get their shot, and it's a legitimate shot. If you show up to work and you do a good job and you outplay the guy in front of you, Bill Belichick will give you a starting position on this squad.
That's
one of my favorite parts about Bill Belichick as a coach is that he's for real when he says, like, it's an open competition.
Right.
So guys like Malcolm Butler, like we might have lucked into him, but he saw the skill, he gave him the chance, and now we think he's probably, if it wasn't for his size, if he was a little bit taller, he'd probably be considered one of the best cornerbacks.
Not to knock Ninkovich because I thought he was a good player, but in my opinion, I think he retired because he couldn't do it without steroids.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that too.
Do you don't think it had anything to do with concussions?
Is that he probably just couldn't keep up without the steroids.
If it had to do with concussions, he wouldn't go to training camp and then spend a few days in training camp and go, oh boy, I shouldn't get any more concussions. No, he was suspended 4 games last year.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, him retiring is one of the only real talking points that we have, to be honest, because it does leave a hole. Like, who's going to fill the other slot on defensive end? Because we lost, what's his name, Sheard. We lost Long. Nink retired. So, I mean, we have Flowers and then a whole bunch of just young players that we don't have any clue if they're going to shake out.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not too worried about that.
Interesting. I guess I was naive. No, I didn't say naive. Just maybe had the wool of my eyes about it was all just steroids. But I guess that makes sense, or whatever he was taking.
I just think that he was like, oh, they're definitely going to test me in the beginning of the season. Because once you get tested positive, they test you a lot. So he was like, all right, as long as I make it past this date, okay, I can do it. Then I'll juice up again a little bit. I'll jump on a half cycle just to keep myself for the season. And he probably came in clean and was like, damn, I really can't. It happens. I don't have power anymore when I play softball. I don't know where it went. But suddenly I'm in a league, an older men's league, in fences that I should be hitting line drives over. And no, I hit the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's unfair to say that, it's like all steroids. The guy, I think it's like the Barry Bonds argument. Like
steroids.
He was a good hitter before he started taking steroids.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I think on a certain level, Ninkovich was probably a pretty good player. But yeah, at 33, he probably came in and was like, "Yeah, I can't do it without."
Exactly. Steroids won't make you a better football player or baseball player or volleyball player. Might make you a really good volleyball player. If you still need skill and talent, like it'll make you stronger and it'll give you better endurance.
And the recovery is the other thing, too.
Rob Ninkovich's defining characteristic wasn't how strong he was off the ball. It was that he knew everyone's job. He knew how to get everyone in the right position, and he could outwork people. So I mean,
thanks to the steroids.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the roids played a part. I'm sure coming in at 33 and maybe feeling like he couldn't do it anymore, or he didn't want to play if he couldn't play at that level. I'm sure that played a part in it. But it's like you said, steroids might make you a little bit better and a little bit stronger, but it's obviously not everything.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens because, I mean, like you said, he was a key player on that. Maybe he wasn't the voice and the knowledge and where people should be going. It might be more of a factor than the actual physicality.
I think he's going to be.
He didn't always get to the quarterback, but he was, around the quarterback a lot. He was around the ball a lot.
I think he's going to be on the sidelines as a coach or like an assistant.
Is he?
For the rest of the season? Yeah.
Well, I could see that with him. I usually think that's kind of like a fan dream, like Kevin Falk retires and everyone. He's going to be the running backs coach.
No,
he's not, dude. But a guy like Ninkovich, I could see doing it.
Yeah, no, he really is. Though. He has already. He's like an assistant to the DN coach already.
Is he? I didn't know he was.
Like you'll see him on the sidelines in games. Yeah.
So I mean, like you just said, or Kenny just said, Vrabel.
And he said too, he's like, I'm too young to not work.
Right.
So so they were like, are you gonna, and he said like the only two choices I could see myself doing is getting into coaching or going into like some kind of broadcast journalism. So right now the coaching door opened up for him, so he's doing that. But he could like
but I mean dude, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like Vrabel's been he's been coaching for like what 6 years or something, and he was already having his name floated around as a possible head coach candidate.
Yeah, it's
this
like
offseason.
You have a Super Bowl ring. You could definitely go into any Division I program and become a coach. Mm-hmm. Not a head coach, but like the coach for your position. And because it just helps for recruitment, they'll take you. And then from there, like Vrabel did that. He went to Ohio State, boom, automatic linebacker coach. Mm-hmm. And then I think he became like the D coordinator for the next season, and then like boom, like the Chiefs grabbed him.
Right.
As like an assistant coach. So yeah, I mean that happens.
Well, it'll be interesting. Kenny, any other thoughts on offense? I mean, obviously forgetting about Brady, but how do you think the wide receiver core is going to be, especially the use of Cooks on the offense? What do you think about them or him?
I mean, I'm excited. I'm very excited to see Brandon Cooks play and see how that works out. I honestly think that Brandon Cooks is going to open things up for Julian Edelman so much that I'm almost more excited to see what Edelman can do with Cooks on the outside. Because if you notice last year, Edelman caught like I think he caught like 99 balls or something like that last year. So he was catching the ball a lot, but he wasn't getting a lot of yards after catch. He was getting tackled right away.
Right.
And I think Cooks on the outside and a healthy Gronkowski, I think he's going to be getting a little bit more. You're going to see a bit more exciting plays out of him, too. So I'm excited to see what Cooks does to the entire wide receiving core because I think it opens everything up.
Do you think Brady's going to be looking for him down the field a lot more than he did with Hogan last year, or it's the same? Or?
I think we're going to see, honestly, I think it's going to be so much more than that. I think, obviously, the exciting play that you think of when we bring in a guy like Cooks is like, oh, man, he's going to be going deep like Randy Moss. But, like, Cooks can do so much. He's fast, but he's small, so I think he's going to be good in tight spaces. The Saints didn't hand him the ball a lot. Like they didn't do a lot of like running plays to the wide receiver the way that we do in New England, and I think that's going to be one fun way that we use him differently than they used him in New Orleans. I think we're going to get the ball in his hands and see what he can do, like we do with Edelman, like we even did with Aaron Hernandez a few years back. We used to run the ball with him and catch people off guard.
Yep.
So I'm just really excited to see what he can do all around. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously he's going to bring the deep ball.
Now, I was listening to the ESPN Fantasy Football podcast the other day. One of the things they were talking about with Cooks is that when he was in New Orleans, he always seemed to have, outstanding games playing on the turf. But then when he was away, the production always dipped down. So do you think that he's a great turf player, or indoor, I should say indoor in the dome, a great dome player, and then outside it's going to be a little bit different? And then the second part of that is he has never played a game in weather that's under 55 degrees. So do you think, obviously there's going to be a lot more of that playing in New England, Buffalo, and New York. So do you think either of those factors are going to be a huge factor, not at all, or just yet to be seen?
I mean, I think it's yet to be seen. I don't know if it'll be a huge factor. I think to answer your first question, absolutely, he plays better in a dome. He's been playing in a dome this whole time. He's been doing well. So, I mean, I don't know if I call him like a strictly dome player, but he obviously plays better in a dome.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, he hasn't played too many games in cold weather. It could be a factor. I think most guys kind of adjust. I think a lot of guys you think can't do it, and then they get here and it's really not a big deal. You don't really notice it. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, our second week we go to New Orleans, so he should be okay there.
No, and I know the other thing too is going from Breeze to Brady, he's going a small step up, obviously. So it's not like he's going from Breeze to Ryan Tannehill or whoever else you want to throw out there. So obviously the quarterback play is going to be just slightly better. So it's not taking a big drop there. But I think the dome thing, the weather conditions are always perfect inside the dome, so you don't have to worry about that. Everything's fast.
In my opinion, I think turf plays a bigger role than a dome. Dome. I think dome definitely changes if you're a QB or a kicker. But I think for any other position, is it turf or is it grass? Because that makes a world of difference. Like feel.
Because most of the places play on the field turf now, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with the rare occasion that we go to a place with grass, like I don't think we're playing Green Bay this year, but I think you can. I don't think the elements affects receivers as much as it does kickers and quarterbacks.
Even if he's never played under 55, his hands are cold, and I'm forgetting snow. It's your body. It's a 20-degree day.
He'll be fine. He'll be running around.
I mean, maybe
crazy,
maybe
and the sidelines are
I
heated.
might be concerned if his head coach was like Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? I have just complete faith in Bill Belichick to get a guy like that ready. I mean, he's never done it, so it's obviously going to catch him off guard or whatever the first time he plays in a really cold game up here.
Right.
But, I mean, I have a feeling they're going to have him prepared and ready to go.
I hope so, certainly. I think he is certainly a dynamic player, and I'm just hoping that it carries out of the dome. Like, the quarterback play doesn't worry me, but, those dome situations sometimes he plays a lot of games.
It also helps a little bit that the coaching is kind of similar. You know what I mean? I think Sean Payton is one of those guys who kind of aspires to be like Bill, and he does the same. I wouldn't say he's not on Bill's level as far as changing the game plan week to week and always having a unique game plan for every team that you face. I wouldn't say Peyton's exactly on that level, but he does stuff like that. I think he's a good game planner.
So he's certainly one of the better coaches in the league.
It's a slight step up for quarterback, and it's a step up for coach. So, I mean, I would hope that it would carry over. I
think the big thing with Cook, right, is what he really does is you're going to have to pick between him and Gronkowski now with the safeties.
Yeah.
Right.
That's ultimately what Cook does is force you to pick your poison. And we're going to keep safety help on Gronk and leave Cook one-on-one and hope that our cornerback can keep up with him. That may be the case. I don't know who we're playing like.
Is Cook's always going to draw the number one cornerback?
He better.
Well, I guess
I would imagine.
Well,
so,
I just don't know. I mean, unless you
mean,
say we're going to give the number 2 and safety help to him, and then put the number 1 on Edelman or something like that.
Because the guy with the quick hips is going to have to cover the slot guys. The guys with the quick feet are going to have to cover Cook, or he'll smoke the guy with quick hips.
Yeah.
And so many of our guys could be classified as slot guys too. I think that's another part of it. Is who do you really? If you've only got one cornerback with quick hips, or you know what I mean, that you can put on a shifty guy like Edelman, what do you do when they start using Edelman like that, and Cooks like that, and Amendola like that?
I think
Malcolm Mitchell can work the inside. You saw that in the Super Bowl. He caught fire in that Super Bowl like crazy. So I have high expectations from Malcolm Mitchell too.
Well, the thing too is now if let's say you're running a nickel, okay? They got 2 safeties out there, so you go find a safety. One will keep an eye on Gronk, one will keep an eye on Cook, and more than likely what Belichick will do is then a really not their best cornerback is going to have to cover Hogan downfield.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody forgets about him. He was a deep field threat last year. You know, we won a Super Bowl with Hulk Hogan. So
no, I mean that's going to be one of the big things to look for is how often are people just going to forget about some of our guys. We've got so many weapons.
And our offense is like when people are saying like in the league are saying 21-0 is because if on paper pending injuries our offense is really hard to cover. So let's say we do Cook, Gronkowski, and Hogan. Okay. Now you're going to have.
I mean, Gronk is the biggest question mark on offense, I think.
Yeah. Now is
he going to play 5 games? Is he going to play 6 games? Is he going to play 11 games? He's not going to play 16 games.
If they're all healthy and you throw just those 3 guys out there, and let's say you do a spread. Let's say you have Dion Lewis now goes out into like the slot, and Amendola or
White.
Like I mean, there's a lot of guys now. If you're going to cover deep. You leave slot guys to get a lot of yards after catch open to get easy. So it's our offense is very dangerous and it can adjust to each team. So
and I like our offensive line to keep Brady upright. I think they did a good job last year. They were young and they're going to be better this year. I think all around the offense is pretty good to go.
My thing is I just hope Brady just doesn't become 40.
Just drop the cliff
during this season. And I mean I've seen that happen. I've lived long enough now to see like my athletes go through like age and stink.
I mean, he's just been so healthy though, you know what I mean? Like it's not like he had a neck injury last year or a shoulder injury or anything. So I'd be surprised if he just fell off the face of the planet.
He didn't have a neck or head injury. Well, we might have had a head injury. We don't know. We don't know how many he's had.
Previous ones.
Don't ask his wife.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think of all the people, Brady hopefully would be the most well-positioned to not drop off the cliff. Like Kenny said, he's on this, strict diet and exercise regimen and everything like that. So
and also, like, who's going to knock him off? Like, who's going to knock us off?
It takes
really.
Kenny.
The Steelers is supposed to be
it takes
the
one hit,
team, right? And stuff came out today that Ben Roethlisberger is walking off the field with he's got his both knees iced, he's got his shoulder iced, he's got his elbow iced. I mean, he looks like he's 40. He looks like he's about.
Oh yeah, and don't think Brady doesn't do that either. He just does it behind closed doors.
And Roethlisberger has taken a lot more hits than Brady has because he's out in the pocket more.
He plays differently.
So, but I mean, Damien said it could take one hit, and all of a sudden we're relying on Garoppolo, who I am not sold on anything for Garoppolo. They should have taken the 2 first-round picks if they could have gotten it last year. Because I mean, I just think people are like, oh, he has all this fundamentals. He looks so great. Like he has played like 4 quarters of football, and that's all we've seen in him.
5.
Yeah, I mean,
5 quarters, whatever it is.
In those first 2 games last year, but that's not enough for me to confidently say he's the guy.
I just and I'm not Bill Belichick. I'm not the guy who's evaluating everything for these players, but I just don't see how Garoppolo is the next guy to come up and be the franchise quarterback. I mean, everyone thought Matt Castle was going to be a great guy, and maybe he would have been if he had stayed in New England. I mean, he won us 11 games that year, and maybe Garoppolo would have done great last year if he had played all 4 games and hadn't gotten hurt. But I just don't see how everyone is throwing all the eggs in the Garoppolo basket without seeing more than 5 quarters of football from him.
Yeah, no, but I think when they practice, they must see something in him that they're like, yeah, I mean, look, when Tom Brady was here, remember who was everybody thought it was supposed to be Drew Bledsoe, Michael Bishop, and Tom Brady.
And Hurd, wasn't Damien Hurd was on that team too.
Yeah, Damon Heward, yeah.
So
Heward, yeah.
So they were like, no, this Tom guy is pretty good.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, he obviously outworked everybody,
Yeah.
and to get out to that backup position. And Zolak was actually saying that he had said back in 2001 that Brady was looking better and throwing better than Bledsoe was in that training camp in the early season.
That was the last training camp I went to was that year.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember I went down with my uncle to go watch them, and I distinctly remember the quarterbacks moving aside, and doing their own drills, and they put a trash barrel about like 30 yards, or 40 yards away from where they were, and all the quarterbacks were there, and there was like a big bin full of footballs, and they were just all trying to throw the football
into it
directly. Bledsoe, of course, going like 10 yards past it every time consistently. Almost felt like taping a Ben Coates jersey to it to see if that would help. And Brady was the only guy that kept either hitting the barrel or getting it right in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a very accurate passer. Garoppolo might be an extremely accurate passer. What they like about him is that he gets rid of the ball quick, and if that's the Patriots' offense. You don't give the defense time to react.
That's fine. I just still think that, and again, and maybe I am wrong, and Belichick knows that Garoppolo is the next guy, but I just think to give up, and if there was 2 first-round picks, if it was just one, I can see, you know what, fine, we'll move on. But if Cleveland was willing to give up 2 first-round picks, or the first pick and then the first pick in the second round, or whatever it was, I just don't see how he can turn that down.
Look at it this way,
I think
right?
if he gotten an offer for 2 first-round picks, he probably would have taken
But what's
it.
the first-round pick? Blake Bortles is going to be out of the NFL when his contract's up.
Yeah.
But we weren't going to be drafting a quarterback, and we were going to be the other thing too is we've had success drafting some quarterbacks. Castle was pretty good. Garoppolo's pretty good. Still out. We don't know about Brissett. I mean, people think he's going to be decent if he gets a chance, but we weren't going to be probably taking that first pick. We were going to take that first pick, and we were going to trade it down for a mids first and another first.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we have.
I mean, I wish we had found a way to deal him. I'm not losing sleep over the fact that we still have him. I think it's great that we still have a good backup, because Brissett. I mean, I don't know if Brissett's going to make the team. You know what I mean?
I think he's going to be on the team.
So here's my personal theory. Okay, is that if we go 21-0 and win the Super Bowl,
how are we going to go 21-0? By the way, we're going to play an extra games in Europe.
No, wait,
19-0.
19. So we go 19-0. Okay, and we win the Super Bowl. All right. Tom Brady is not going to be in a New England Patriot the year after.
Either retirement or trading?
I don't think he'll retire. I think there's maybe a 30% chance that he'll just say, you know what, I know I didn't break Manning's passing yards, but I am an undefeated quarterback. I have more Super Bowl rings than any other quarterback. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I'm gonna walk away on the top of my game. Okay. Or he might go out to San Francisco and play a couple seasons out there.
I've always thought that he would maybe end his career in San Francisco, and it's funny. I was listening to the Zolak show earlier this week, and they tackled this, and he got so heated, and he started to make the case why a professional athlete wouldn't do that. And after listening to him, I totally buy it.
Well, it's not if it's not his choice.
His whole point was basically grow up. You know what I mean? He's not going to finish his career in New England where he spent his entire career because he wasn't born here and he wasn't raised here. That's crazy.
Well, no.
Why would he leave here to go to a shit situation in San Francisco?
Hey, thanks for that edit, by the way, Kenny.
I think the point is, what if... whatever.
Sorry about that.
But no, the point is, what if he's cut or released?
Yeah, it's not his choice. If he says, look, I need 6,000 more yards to break Peyton's record, which is a crappy record to go after, because in the rate that the NFL is going, in 20 years someone's going to break that. But if he wants to leave on the top of everything, most everything,
right,
he's going to have to. Even though Drew Brees is, I think, still ahead of him in touchdowns, and he's still playing. If he wants to leave on the top of everything and says, you know what, by the time I'm 43, Brees should be gone, and I should break Peyton's passing yards. And the Patriots say, Tom, look, you are 41 years old. You are 41 years old, man. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, you might have a couple more good seasons left, but here's the thing. How long are you going to play? You're not going to be around for 10 more years, so we're not going to invest in you for 10 more years.
I feel like you have to see a dip in his play, though, before they have that conversation.
It doesn't.
If he plays this year the way he played last year and wins another Super Bowl and there's no decline in sight, I don't see the Krafts or Belichick going to him and being like, hey, we got to find a way to get rid of you.
No. But, Kenny, why would you draft linemen, for example, that will do a blocking scheme for a specific type of quarterback play if that quarterback isn't... Tom said, I want to play 5 more years, okay? So hypothetically speaking, he wins a Super Bowl next year. Now he has 4 more years on the table. Do you really think a man is going to play quarterback in the NFL at 45 years old?
What if
I don't know. I mean,
if he proves that
right now? Like, I haven't seen it done at a high level.
Well, you know what?
I mean, Favre.
You know what?
He was 42.
Yeah, and he was awful. He talked about falling off the wagon. He totally fell off the wagon, figuratively and literally.
If there's a dip in play and Brady plays slightly worse or starts throwing a little bit more picks or whatever, then yeah, I could see them having that conversation and having to make a tough
I don't even think it's a conversation. I think you just know you're not going to draft a lineman to be in your team for 10 years that would fit a quarterback's needs that won't be there for those 10 years. Like, I see if he's gonna finish his career somewhere else, or else they would have traded Garoppolo and kept the brisket.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the Garoppolo thing, I've heard people say, like, they wanted 2 first-round picks this year for him, which they weren't going to get. And then next year, when they franchise him, and they will franchise him, it'll still be for 2 first-round picks if anyone wants to sign him. So they still could end up getting 2 first-round picks. Like,
no,
it could still play out in their favor. This could be an instance where Belichick's trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
Well, that or to be honest, like I said, the draft is nowhere to find a quarterback. To be honest, it's completely hidden. Quarterbacks at this point is probably the most difficult position to evaluate in sports.
See, I disagree that if you have a top pick, now obviously the Patriots aren't going to necessarily have a top pick, but you could find a good quarterback in
Matt Leinart.
Well, was he the top pick though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't the number 1 pick overall.
He was the first quarterback.
No, he was like the number 2 pick.
Well,
he was I think it went Vince Young.
Oh, Vince Young too. There you go.
Yeah, okay, but I still think that. But the other thing is, those guys weren't necessarily guaranteed. Yes, going to be 100% great players.
But you would expect the first pick overall in the draft to have at least play past his rookie contract.
No, I wouldn't. No, because if you go back and look at the number 1 quarterbacks picked, there's that back and forth there. I guess I'm contradicting myself.
But that's the thing. Like, the apparently most talented quarterbacks in a draft might not make it to the NFL. There's not an NFL quarterback in every draft. And that's the thing. And there's definitely not an elite NFL quarterback in every draft.
Fair enough.
Look at Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck came in and he played really well. And people are like, wow, not bad. Okay? He stinks.
Yeah, he stinks, dude. Andrew Luck is one of those guys that I constantly point out is just overrated. People wanted to crown him
extremely overrated.
I still think the book's not finished on him.
No, it's not.
I think he plays ball like Brett Favre, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean, he throws off his back foot all the time.
He's like Eli.
He throws into double coverage all the time.
Yeah.
If you look at all the tipped plays that should be intercepted but don't get intercepted, he throws like 20-something picks a year. He doesn't throw good balls. He doesn't make good decisions. I just think he's totally overrated.
Well, I don't have anything else to say about that.
Alex Smith. I mean,
I hear what Damien's saying. Like, I mean, how many guys got drafted the year that is it David Carr? Is he the one? Derek Carr in Oakland right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm confusing the brothers. Derek Carr was a second-round pick, right? And I think there were like 4 quarterbacks that were taken before him, and Oakland ended up with the clear best quarterback in that draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's real hit or miss, like, to figure out. And that's the other thing too. So now you have like a high first-round pick. You need a quarterback, and the Patriots will never draft below 15 ever, because because they're going to want to accumulate all the draft picks of the 2043 draft. Like, that's their MO.
But if Belichick says, all right, you know what, I need that top quarterback, and I see the guy I want, and I don't have Tom Brady anymore, and Garoppolo's gone or not the guy.
If it's Derek Carr, he's going to trade down and grab him in the second round.
If he thinks that he can get his guy in the second round, then yeah. But if he thinks that my guy is going to be in the middle of the first round because for whatever reason that's what it's there, he'll go and get him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done that before. If he said,
ask him what.
I'm calling Bill right now. Yes.
Call up BlackRock and ask to speak to.
Well, did we trade up for Vince Wilfork? I can't remember, or did he fall to us at 21?
I think he fell. He was a nose tackle, so he probably fell to us.
I don't remember.
Because he just retired, everyone's telling all the stories about him, and I just remember Bob Kraft saying recently, like, Vince Wilfork, some people thought he was going to be like a top 10 pick, and Bill couldn't believe it when he was at 21. And I think he felt the same way about like Hightower and Chandler Jones and those guys. If there's a guy in a certain spot and the value's there, he'll move up and he'll get him. But
yes, I don't think he's not afraid to move up and spend that capital that he has, and maybe it's more in the second and third rounds where he's done different things like that, where he's willing to move around because he wants to trade down and get those extra picks because again he feels that value. And all the NFL teams, they have this point system where you spent this draft pick and it's worth X points, so you can go to a different point. But I mean, I think he's willing to move up if he knows my guy is right here. If my next Tom Brady is going to be in the third round, I'm going to trade up to get to that point.
So from my understanding, the NFL, GMs have this mentality. The first round are going to start on your team and should start on your team.
They should be, right.
For years, okay? They should become not necessarily superstars, but a capable NFL player that should be on a
solid contributors.
Yeah. On your team. That's the first round. The second round are guys that need a little bit of grooming or time to develop that can then turn into that, okay? So they're a little bit of an investment. The third and fourth round are guys that are supposed to be freaks. Like, they have this NFL number, like physical capability, but they can't catch a ball, or they're projects. And then everything after that is just a crapshoot. Belichick loves like third, fourth round guys,
right?
And because he feels that he could turn, like, what's his face, that linebacker that went to Cleveland, that he could take these freaks and turn them into what the first round pick is. Because he's that confident in himself.
Well, I mean, Gronkowski was a third round pick, wasn't he?
Well, Gronk
was a second round pick.
Oh, Hernandez was the third round pick, right?
Yeah, well, Hernandez.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just looking at, you think about the talent, and I know there are other reasons why Hernandez dropped down to the third round as well. But
that without Tim Tebow, Hernandez was supposed to be like crazy on the field. But that was one of the things. They were like, Tebow and Hernandez should be a package because he's the only guy. Well,
you know why everyone always remembers that draft though, because like the 4 years or so before that, we had just missed on so many draft picks.
Right.
And then finally we got Gronk and Hernandez in one draft, and I think we got McCourty like the year before, so it started to look like, we're drafting good again.
Gronk came in from Arizona with back issues, with back surgery and supposedly a degenerative back issue.
Right.
That's why he dropped. But, stem cells.
All right, well, Kenny, we appreciate you calling. We've taken up enough of your time, so it's been a little while here. So either way, thanks for calling in, and we will talk to you down the road as the season continues on here.
All right, I look forward to it.
All right, thanks, Kenny.
All right, night, guys.
All right, bye.
Gordon Hayward, John.
Gordon Hayward, what about him?
Are we going to the finals?
Is Kyrie Irving on the Cavaliers this year?
And that's the $1 million question, right?
So
yes, he is. Kyrie Irving is on the Cavaliers.
Then no, we're not going to the finals.
Even though he hates LeBron James and he has a really bad attitude.
We're not going to the finals.
Kyrie Irving is not on the Cavaliers.
I think we could go to the finals. It's not a definite yes. I think it's a definite no if Kyrie is still, if it's Kyrie and LeBron and Love and whoever else, no. If it's not Kyrie, I think our chances are better than 50-50 because I think we have a pretty decent team and we could beat just a LeBron team.
Would you trade IT in the first round Brooklyn pick for Kyrie? The answer is yes.
I think I need to do that, yes. The first... yeah.
Yeah, I would do that too. Apparently that's on the table.
And who's not... And so we put that on the table? You heard?
Supposedly, I have my inside sources.
Interesting.
That Crowder, Brooklyn's first, and IT for Kyrie. Because IT's contract and Crowder kind of add up to Kyrie's current one, that it's like an easy trade on that end.
Yeah.
They don't need to involve a third team for financial stuff. So that's a potential offer. Now then the former Cavs GM said that Kyrie would like to play for Boston. That was one of the teams he would play for.
See, that's the big thing for me is he has 2 years on his contract left.
But you could.
Is it 2 years?
Yeah.
So I'm willing to do that for the 2 years because I think we could convince him to stay here and sign. If it's only 1 year, I don't know. Like if it was like a Paul George situation.
Yeah.
Like Paul George is already out of Oklahoma City. Like I don't see how he's not going to go to L.A. after this season. Kyrie, I think
L.A. You didn't read about.
What have I missed? He's not going to go to the Lakers? Oh, I missed this. Where is he going now?
The Warriors.
Oh, I completely. How is he going to go to the Warriors?
They're not going to keep Iguodala. And basically, they're going to basically everybody will have a pretty high contract with rotating years of like max money.
Okay.
And their bench is going to be like me and you.
They would have to be.
But you would have a starting lineup and they don't care. They don't care that they don't have a traditional five or something of Durant, Paul George,
Curry,
Klay
Thompson,
and Green.
So literally just have the five best players in the NBA.
They would have an all-star team. I would love to see that represent the West in an all-star team. And then
it would be pretty close.
And see if the All-Star East could even beat them.
I guess I missed that. Was this a last week vacation thing that I missed?
This was the GM.
Yeah, but was this last week? Did this come out? I wasn't paying attention last week. So
that's now his potential suitor. Now is the Golden State Warriors, and even though he wants to go back to California, and San Francisco isn't exactly L.A. Thanks to Elon Musk's, it all comes full circle in a Hyperloop. His Hyperloop, he can still live at home in L.A. and 30 minutes commute to work. That they'll do that, and they feel, and Golden State feels that they're capable of doing that because, let's be honest, Kevin Durant's 7'2", okay, Paul George is 6'10". You have enough height. You're not hurting yourself on that end. I mean, geez, you could even have guys take turns on who's covering the center to give them a night off. But yeah, that's a potential thing. But yeah, we're going back. LeBron's going to go to L.A. Kyrie might leave. If Kyrie comes here and we have Kyrie, Klay Thompson.
We're going to get Klay Thompson?
I'm
like,
sorry.
Where did this come from? I'm like, sorry. I missed a lot last week.
I'm thinking of 3 point. Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, Horford. And I'm really, to be honest, I really think, who's the kid we drafted last year?
Oh, Brown.
I think Brown's going to be a stud.
I think he is too. And what about Tatum? I mean, is that your starting five now? Brown, Tatum,
or even let's say take Tatum and Brown and get a fourth stud. Because
the other thing too is now Tatum is 6'8". I don't think he's 6'10", is he?
No.
Brown is like 6'8". Horford's 6'9", 6'10". Hayward is 6'7", and who am I missing? Oh, and Kyrie is 6'3".
Yeah,
and then you just need a fourth that's your five. So.
Yeah, I would or get Anthony Davis, package them, give him the Brooklyn #1 for next season, get Anthony Davis, and you have those 4 guys. That's a pretty darn good team.
All right, so does Anthony Davis' health situation worry you?
I don't know. Get Porzingis then.
Does his health situation worry you? You know, guys over 7 feet in the NBA don't seem to last super long.
No, because
even look at Durant. I mean, he's had his problems too.
Every guy. The only stud that hasn't had some kind of injury is LeBron so far. But I mean, Kobe was out for a season before. You know.
Yeah. But Kobe wasn't 7'1". I mean, yeah, he got hurt, but you know, when you're 7+, it seems that the healing in the feet and knees take a lot more.
Is Anthony Davis 7+? I thought he was like 6'10" or 6'11".
I don't know, but I think he has different health issues as well.
I don't know. I mean, you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet, John.
All right, so
and I want an omelet.
So I just texted Seth McLaughlin, our NBA insider, and I said Kyrie for IT, Crowder, and a Brooklyn first. He said yes for Kyrie as long as Jalen and Tatum aren't involved. Anyone else, see you later. And I also asked him, Paul George is in Golden State, yes or no? He said no. He and LeBron are LA bound 100%.
Well, Paul George said differently.
Interesting.
His people are saying differently. His people are saying the concept. And look, it's kind of convenient too, right? Look, Paul George is saying if I go to Golden State, and the people from Golden State are saying we don't have to play 82 games a year anymore if this is our team, and we'll win the championship.
Yeah.
If we do this for the next 3-4 years, we're competitors, more than likely winners for 3-4 years, and we're not beating the crap out of our bodies anymore. This came out, and a couple days after that, the NBA came out with the resting the starters rule that they're going to enforce.
Right.
So I just think it's a little. I could see Paul George, Golden State trying to figure out how to get him. But remember the NBA. Well, that was under Stern. Remember when the Lakers tried to trade for Chris Paul?
Yeah, and then the NBA vetoed it. Yeah.
I could see them doing that at some point with the Warriors, but I don't know, man. That would be interesting to see. I mean, at that point, it'll just be super teams, and everything else is garbage. It's kind of like the European soccer leagues.
Would George have to go in a sign and trade, or would it? It would have to be a sign and trade because they're over the cap, so they couldn't sign another max player.
Yeah, they'll probably have to do that.
So I guess in theory, yes, they could veto that. But the NBA was also they also technically owned the Hornets at that point, and that's why they could kind of veto that trade. Yeah. Because in theory, they thought they could get something better for the offer.
Sidebar. We can come back to it. Speaking of pandas, so former third baseman for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
All right, and this is an argument I had on Facebook with what's-his-face on the Mets that gets paid like $1 million a year till he's like 65.
Bobby Bonilla?
Yeah. And they're like, oh, the worst contract ever. No, it's not. Okay? By far.
Who's the worst contract?
Oh, I can start naming Vin Baker. I mean, like you can.
Well, I think people saying worst contract in MLB history, right?
You know how? No. Do you have any idea like how a team would probably prefer that, especially if they don't have a salary cap? Okay, it's not like he's contributing to the cap. Well, I guess he could contribute to the luxury tax, but $1 million is a drop in the bucket to MLB. But let's say they had to pay him $30 million. Instead of giving him $30 million, they kept $30 million for 30 years, giving him $1 million. That's like the interest on that. Mm-hmm. Like it's costing that contract ended up costing the team nothing.
No, I know, but I think Panda was such a terrible contract because there's still 4 more years on it.
For how much total? It was like a $95 million contract. So $30 million for 30 years or $95 million for 4 years. Like I think Panda's contract was worse.
Oh yeah, I think people agree with that. I think everyone is saying that Panda's contract was worse.
No, you said Bobby Bonilla, whose contract's like.
No, I thought you said that. I thought you were trying to say that Bonilla's contract was worse.
Oh no! And I hate that because they're like worst contract. It's not the worst contract ever.
Oh yeah, no. I thought you were trying to say that was worse than Sandoval. No, I think Sandoval's contract was the worst.
So here's the deal: they cut Sandoval, right? And the Giants picked him up, correct?
I believe so, but it was after the time when they didn't have to worry about paying him any money.
So how does that work? So the Red Sox continue to pay him, and now he can get a second contract from the Giants?
I think so, yeah. Because they designated him for assignment, and since he has the proper amount of time in MLB, he doesn't have to do that. And then basically the Sox just have to eat the contract and tear it up, and then...
Now, does that contract come off our books, for luxury tax?
I don't know.
Because
I don't think it does, but I don't know.
If it doesn't, why designate him for assignment?
Because they just don't want him on the active roster. The active roster spot's more important to them than the money. Because if he's on the active roster, then they can't bring up somebody else to take his spot to play.
They can't just put him in single A?
No, because he'd still be on the active roster. So that's why if he doesn't name for assignment or a full-out release, he's no longer on the active roster.
Okay. So I thought that until your contract's over, if you get picked up by another team, now you either lose your previous contract or you're still under contract by the Red Sox. But I guess not.
No. I think if they had waived him and someone had picked him up in that certain day period, they would have picked up the contract. But they either waived him and or designated for assignment, or basically just said, we don't want you, period, go away.
Yeah.
And then everyone was just, well, we're not going to pick him up. We're just going to wait till everything's over. And then he basically becomes a complete free agent.
Yeah. Now, is he on the Giants roster now? Or
I honestly, I don't know.
How much is he weighing nowadays?
I have not been up to date on my Pablo Sandoval statistics since he has been released.
But there we go. Worst contract. You're paying a guy to play baseball for another team. Way worse than Bobby Bonilla, right?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, because it's a lot of money for the next few. I thought it was like $20-something million a year for the next however many years. I'll have to look it up.
If it's 50 cents, it's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I mean, the reason the Carl Crawford contract wasn't terrible is because the Dodgers
traded him.
Yeah, the Dodgers ate. I don't know if it was all of it or most of it, but I think it was all of it. So it's well, whatever. It's not on our books anymore, so it's not a bad contract.
Is he still playing for the Dodgers?
I have no clue. I'm just trying to look up Pablo's contract here.
I wonder how much money John Henry, how much revenue he gets from television. Because that's why he signed Sandoval in the first place. That's why he signed Crawford in the first place. The TV numbers dropped, so he went out and got the superstars that are available.
Yeah.
And they stunk here. And to try to generate that TV revenue again.
All right, so Pablo was making 17 this year. It would have been 18 next year, 18 and 19, and then $5 million in 20. So it wasn't as much as I thought it was. So
still more than $30 million for both.
Yeah, no. So it must have been closer to what you said with. But yeah, so I'm just trying. Josh Hamilton did a $125 million contract with the Angels that they're still paying, but he's been out of the league since 2015.
Did he fall off the wagon?
I think that was definitely a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sandoval did a 5-year, $95 million contract. Yeah, so I thought it was more than that. But
what a waste! I mean, how could you give a guy $95 million without having any weight stipulations? Nothing.
And they could have signed Josh Donaldson that year as well. They could have gone for him instead, but they went for him.
You know what they could have done even before? They could have just kept Adrian Beltre for a while.
They should have done that for a while ago.
The guy just hit his. The guy has over 3,000 hits now.
Yeah, no, they definitely should have done that. They designated him for assignment, and they still owe him $49 million in guaranteed salary.
Yeah, say way worse than Bonilla. I think when they designate people for assignment, it should be at least that season, the rest of that season, before a team can pick you up. Well, wallow in it, get it even more out of shape.
The Bonilla contract, by the way, I think that was how he wanted it, though.
Yeah,
he wanted it, and I mean, anyone could say, "I want that, I want it," and I don't know how it would affect the books. You might say, "Okay, it's $30 million for 1 year, but it's going to be paid out over a 30-year window."
Yeah.
So just how it affects the books or something like that.
Yeah. It benefits both sides. He gets a steady payment. The Mets, throw that $30 million in with God knows how much money they have in their bank account. The interest alone pays his $1 million.
You're assuming they're doing that, though.
They probably are. You don't become rich by dropping $95 million on.
Well, the Mets were also in the Bernie Madoff thing. Remember?
Oh, there you go.
So they lost a lot of money from Madoff.
They had a pyramid scheme going on. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's amazing what you can do with tens of millions of dollars. One day I'd hope to find out. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah. Hit the lottery or Mega Millions or Powerball or whatever.
No, I wouldn't want to do that. I guess I wouldn't care. If I won the lottery, how soon before you'll be asking me for stuff?
I don't think I would ask you.
See, I would
ask you to come in and do the show, and that's about it. Still,
see, that's the thing, and I think most of my friends wouldn't, which I guess I wouldn't mind winning the lottery in that end.
No, it would be more like, oh, Damien, I'm your fourth cousin removed from wherever and stuff like that.
I have no problem saying no to people.
Yeah,
like lepers could come to my door, and I'm going to say no. Because my door is going to be up a hill, past a big gate.
With a gate and a guard, yeah.
So, yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. And I would... See, this is the benefit of not talking to people. There's people that are social butterflies in this world. I have my circle of friends, and that's what I keep.
Yeah.
You know, every now and then I can let somebody in. Okay. And
now you're right back out.
Yeah. But if the second I win the lottery and you say, give me something, I go, boom.
Right.
I mean, you know what would probably happen would be like if we're out somewhere, like Seth would make me pay for him. And that's fine. He's a veteran. I'll use that as an excuse. I'll write it off as a charitable donation. But I think for the most part, most people won't be hounding me for money. That, and I'm not going to, people are stupid with it. Like, ooh, I won $30 million. I'm going to go buy a $25 million house.
Right.
Do you know how much property taxes on that, upkeep? No. I will buy a nicer house.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. You say, all right, say you win $30 million.
Yeah.
Well, half of that's going to taxes right away, or even more than half of that. So say you win 30, so now you're down to 15 just to make it easy.
Yeah.
Okay. So that first year you're paying $15 million in taxes, and that's just right off the top. Yeah. Then someone will go, I'm going to go buy a $5 million house, and I'm going to just pay the $5 million.
Yeah, and, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to generate any more money.
Right.
And you wonder,
So, I mean, yes. All right. So now you pay that $5 million, and you put the $10 million in the bank, which is earning interest. Well, now on that interest, you're paying taxes on that interest earned.
Which is so unfair, but yeah.
So be
not to get political, folks, but it's unfair. There's no light on that one. Does that mean it's... So
that means that battery's dead, yeah. So
we're
just on this one, so that means we probably should be getting ready to wrap it up sooner than later.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're earning interest on $10 million a year, and I don't know how much you're going to be earning on $10 million a year in interest. I mean, I assume...
Like a really good situation, you get at least 10%.
But so in theory, you could live off of that interest.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you live in moderation.
Right.
Which is what usually people that buy lottery tickets don't do when they win the lottery. It's like, wow, I was busting my butt working 60 hours a week. I won the lottery. Boom, can spend it all. I'm like, oh, man, now I'm in debt. $20 million.
Well, we look at a lot of professional athletes. They do the same thing where they spend all their money and then all of a sudden they're broke and they're working at a random...
That's why they need to marry a supermodel that's worth 20 times more than them.
Yeah. Although, I could be wrong. I don't think Tom Brady is wasting his money away. I could be wrong.
No, if anything, he's building... Tom Brady, when he is done, is going to make Brady something. His whole TB12 thing is Right. I think, which is also one of the reasons why Tom Brady is trying to play till he's 45.
Oh, and he's getting other athletes involved. He was getting Edelman, Gronk, and stuff like that into that theory, so he can be a spokesperson for that.
He's going to be a high-end trainer for professional athletes.
And that somewhere along the line, him and Kraft have a wink-wink where, okay, yeah, I'll sign for a signing bonus of $20 million and a base salary of $1 million. But I think there's a piece of land that on
In
Gillette
Brookline.
Place or Brookline that you're going to be giving to me, or amazingly enough, I'm going to be able to buy into the Patriots at some point after I.
Well, that was the
stop
thing when
playing.
he took that pay cut a few years ago, like the big one, and people were like, "Whoa, I can't believe he's doing that." He got land in Brookline that was like apparently, I mean, a lot of people with names other than Tom Brady tried to get and couldn't. Like you have to get it from the town and get it approved. So that came, and TB12 opened up at Patriot Place. So
rent free. He definitely has ideas where he's looking into the future as well. So he knows, all right, I'm going to get that big signing bonus and $1 million base salary. But I'm getting a lot of money on the back end somehow or another.
What my guess is going to be is what Air Jordans is to basketball, TB12 is going to be for Under Armour and football. Like Nike's got their Air Jordan for basketball. They're going to be like 15 years from now, like
some sort of Brady brand.
Like guys are going to be rocking like TB12 cleats, TB12 gloves, and like that's going to be their brand for Under Armour. That's their Michael Jordan.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure he's well far ahead down the road trying to do that. So
I know, Tom. I know what you're thinking. We could be partners.
All right. Well, we should get ready to wrap it up here. So we want to thank Kenny Tasney for calling in and talking to us for a very long time. We appreciate that, and hopefully we'll do this before December. It's a period of time. So I know you're gonna be getting busy pretty soon with football starting up and whatnot. So we'll see if we can get a show in before practice really gets going there. So, all right. Well, again, thanks to Kenny Tasney. For Damien Ritchie, my name is Jonathan Caleri. This has been Sports Night. We will see you next time.